Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is Adrenaline and Rise and Learn Global, our webinar. Today, the 21st of February, 2025. And we are really excited to be hosting you today. We're just waiting for more people to join. We had 300 and more participants sign up for the call, and we are truly grateful. So we are going to give it 1 minute, and at 5 past, we shall begin. So today we are discussing the new HR leadership paradigm. And we are really honored to have great leaders and professionals in their fields. I'm really looking forward to the content they're going to share with us today around people, around AI, and learning in harmony. So welcome again, 103 of you already. And I think in the interest of time and appreciating those of you who've logged in already, I want to say once again, welcome. And looking forward to a great session. I want to start already with introductions very briefly. Our panelists are going to introduce themselves. We have Michael Boham, the founder of SkillSize AI. We have John Fumba, the lead consultant, HR's transformation at Rise and Learn Global. We have Stuart Samkange, who's an independent talent solutions consultant. And we have David Madan, the Vice President, Marketing and Global Partnership Ecosystems at Adrenaline Systems, who are our hosts today. So I'd like very briefly to just welcome Michael, who will do a brief introduction. Then we'll go on to John, Stuart, and David will complete. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you very much, Emily, and a massive thank you to Adrenaline and Rise and Learn for this opportunity. Always love to talk about what I do, and welcome everyone to joining this webinar. Thank you so much for taking part of your day to come listen to a few interesting people, and then myself. Talk a little bit about our knowledge around human capital and potential. So I'm the founder and CEO of a small but very innovative startup called SkillSize, and we're building the first AI-driven workforce consultant to help organizations identify and address the critical skills gaps in the path to digital transformation. And today I'll be sharing some of my knowledge that I've amassed over the years through my professional career as a consultant, data and product specialist, and now founder of a platform optimizing this experience for users alike. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And now we get to hear from John.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Fumba. I'm a HR transformation and learning development specialist and consultant. I got fascinated in the world of AI when I was in charge of an academy that was tasked and mandated to build people capability in that tech capability. And that capability had product offering that involved a lot of fast evolving AI and AI solutions to create value for the client and also to enhance the product. So I found myself, as much as I'm a learning and development specialist, being tasked with the responsibility of developing learning solutions, including what we need to do to upskill our people in AI. And today I'm happy to talk about how that learning strategy looks and what it means for HR professionals and leaders. Thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you. Thank you, John. And now we hear from Stuart.
Hey, Emily, how you doing? And very good morning to everyone. I guess it's morning wherever you're watching from. I'm in Dublin, Ireland, so it's bright and early in the morning. My focus today is really to demystify what AI means from a leadership perspective and what skills we need to enhance from a human side in order to still embrace AI and still be effective in the jobs that we do and the decision making we do. So I'm looking forward to this discussion, and I'm looking forward, of course, to the panel discussions where most of you are going to be asking questions and, of course, opportunities to work with you further after this. So welcome and good morning.
Thank you, Stewart. It's time to shine. That's his tagline, in case you all don't know. And my name is Emily Kamundi Osoro. I am the founder of Rise and Learn Global. Very privileged to be sharing this platform with you all. And now I hand over to the Vice President, Adrenaline, who will kick us off. He will introduce himself and then start his presentation.
Yeah,
Welcome,
thanks,
David.
Emily. Thank you. I hope I'm audible. I'm from that part of the world where it is good afternoon. I'm dialing in from India. And, it's always a tough ask when I need to follow Stuart and Emily, right? People whom I've had the privilege of getting acquainted with last October when I was there in Kenya. So for an event, and thanks a lot. And I'm happy that we could do this together, Emily, between Adrenaline and Rise and Learn as a part of our partnership to go ahead and evangelize about how AI and technology is reshaping the world of HR as well as people management in Africa. So that's what we do at Adrenaline. We are a HR tech firm based out of India, but we have customers across the globe, including multiple customers in Africa. And it is a great privilege for me personally, as well as the organization, that we are co-hosting this along with Rise and Learn. And to be very honest, I'm actually overwhelmed with the type of response that we have received, and I can already see that we have 133 participants and counting, which is actually overwhelming. So without much delay, let me just put together a few slides. It's an interesting topic, the topic which I believe is very, very important in today's day and age, a topic which is spoken almost in, it's a topic that is spoken almost in every forum about AI. If one of you can confirm, actually, Emily, can you confirm that you can see my screen on a full screen mode?
Yes. Yes, we
Okay.
can.
All right, I've got my timer on. I know I've got strict instructions from Emily that, if I don't finish in 8 to 9 minutes, she's going to have AI cut me off. Is that right, Emily?
100% correct.
All right. So here we go. So the topic today that we're going to discuss about is leadership in the age of AI. And it's an interesting topic primarily because right from the time the world was hit by the words called ChatGPT, literally everybody's been speaking about AI, irrespective of what field of work you are in, irrespective of what you're doing. And there have been a lot of stories about it, right? Is AI going to replace my job? How am I going to do and take care of AI? What is ethical AI? Lot of, keywords, jargons, everything being thrown, hallucinations, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to one thing. How do we kind of, shape the world of work together, shape the future of work together? That is, it can be either TO or TWO along with AI. That is where it is kind of getting interesting with every single passing day, with the advancement in technology as well as the adoption of the technology. So net, today, if we take a look at it, AI is in everywhere, it is in everything, and is for everyone. I think this is something which we cannot actually kind of, go ahead and deny. And especially, I don't know how many of you know, when you say AI is in everything, here are some examples. Oral-B, it's the famous dental brand. Do you know how they came up with, the AI-powered toothbrush that they've come up with? That actually takes care of, it actually senses whether you're brushing your teeth too hard or whether you're brushing it too light. How many minutes are you spending? Which tooth you are spending more time and which tooth you're not spending much time? And how do you kind of, go ahead and brush your teeth? How you should go ahead and brush your teeth? There are algorithms written for it, right? When I say everywhere and in everything, I'm going to give you some examples of where people are actually overdoing it, right? This is another company. This is an interesting use case and a funny use case. I'm a big pet lover. I have a mini zoo at home, and that's how I keep telling people. So there's this company in the US which actually came up with an AI-enabled tool, which is called flippage.com or something like that, if I'm not able to recollect the name exactly. This is a door cam which actually identifies if your cat is kind of bringing in a rat or anything else in its mouth from outside. And if it is, it will not open the door, right? I don't know how many of you know, AI is also taken over your Coke as well as your deodorant, right? And this is another interesting company, which kind of, went ahead and came up with an AI tool when you're having these video calls. For example, this panel discussion where I'm sitting in India, Stuart is sitting in Dublin enjoying the weather there, and Emily and the rest of the gang is actually sitting in Nairobi or in Kenya, various places of Kenya. They came up with this gadget which you see there, which actually kind of goes ahead and mimics what I'm doing in front of the camera right now, so that people on the other side can actually get a realistic or can get a feel that David is actually sitting there along with them, right? And last but not the least, this was another interesting gadget which is AI enabled. From the looks of it, you might think it's a microwave oven or something like that, but this is actually a barbecue or a grill machine, which again, kind of depending on the meat that you put in, depending on the type of grilling that you want, it has got algorithms which says how much you should season. It'll automatically flip the meat over based on how much it is grilled or barbecued, and so on and so forth. So net, if you take a look at it, AI is predominantly there everywhere. We think sometimes that AI is going to be there only in automation. AI is there only when you talk about, especially as HR folks in recruitment, performance management, so on and so forth. Or we think AI is there in Netflix and wherever it is. But irrespective of whether it is being used for the right reasons or wrong reasons, the fact remains that AI, the age of AI is here, whether we like it or not. I mean, and whether it is actually working or not doesn't really matter, but at least they're using it as a marketing advantage and people are all sharing a laugh, but still going ahead and procuring these products. So, which means that the very fabric of our lives has changed, where it is moving from, kind of just being natural to AI becoming a part and fabric of our lives. We are already feeling the transformation. We are already getting that transformation experience in each and everything, in our daily life, in the products that we use, in the conversations that we have, in the decisions that we make in our workplace, in the technology decisions that we, make, or even in the technology products that companies like us build, like the Adrenaline builds. AI is changing the fabric of our lives in every function, which means that it is giving an opportunity, it's opening the door to multiple opportunities. Just to throw some facts, right, about the opportunities that are there available. AI and AI-centered activities are expected to add about 15 trillion to the global economy in the next 5 years, right? And 15 trillion is equivalent to the GDP of China and US put together, or if not more, or slightly less rather. Today, or actually the projected global market for AI spent today is about 750 billion. Africa is expected, the continent of Africa is expected to spend about $5 billion in the AI market. Now, when I say spend $5 billion, that is to build products, that is to consume products, and so on and so forth. And mind you, this is only the structured sector. When I say structured, it is actually talking about software products, business applications, so on and so forth, or robotics or machine learning and stuff like that. This doesn't include, all the, the cat flipping or a tool or the grilling machine and so on and so forth. But net, what has happened is in the last 2 years, the world has opened up. The term AI has opened up lots of opportunities across the globe. And the fact remains that AI is going to stay as a part of our lives forever and ever, right? So at this time where AI is there in every aspect of our life, what is the paradox that is faced by leaders across the globe, right? Especially in Africa. Today, if you take a look at it already, in sub-Saharan Africa, 70% of the workforce is under the age of 35. I'm sure you've heard this in many forums, but if you've not, if this is the first time you're hearing, this is the fact. And I'm sure many of you in this call are going to be less than 35 years old as well. And these are the leaders of tomorrow. And these leaders are actually raised in a world of AI, where AI is not just an, as I said, AI is not just an add-on, but it has become kind of, a fabric of their lives. So the demands of this type of workforce that is coming in through the doors is with regards to how AI is going to be utilized in every single activity in their workplace is going to be, is actually evolving and is dynamic on a day-to-day basis. And that is where leaders are in the forefront in terms of, kind of going ahead and ensuring that they are providing these employees the people that they come across, the right type of tools, the right type of guidance in order to kind of, go ahead and ensure that their demands are met. That is why I believe that there are 3 Ds of leadership. One is because of this dynamism in the way AI is bringing about in the world, leaders have to be dynamic. It is not going to be any more of like, how it was in the past. I'm going to kind of do it now. They have to change with the evolving times. They have to keep themselves, updated about what is happening. They have to be data driven, because what has happened is with so much of technology and AI coming in, data that was not available before is available today. Like, for example, the Oral-B example that I gave you, how many seconds are you spending on every single tooth to brush it? You have data up to that level, right? Whether that is relevant or not is a different question. And that's where humans come in to make sure that I pick up the right and relevant data from AI and utilize it. And that onus falls on the leaders. And last but not the least, while I have the data, while the dynamism is there, I still need to approach everything from a deeply human-centric manner, while I still need to bring about that automation. More so in the continent of Africa, where culture still plays a very important aspect. So this I personally believe, and we personally believe as an organization, are the 3 Ds of leadership. And this is what I've heard from many CHROs, many leaders across multiple countries where we've gone and presented stuff. So considering this, what is the role of a CHRO of the future? And this is what the rest of my panelists are going to talk about in the next 45 to 50 minutes. But I thought, if I need to summarize, while they, deep dive into some of these aspects, but if I need to summarize that, as I said, the CHRO has to be data-driven, but still use the data to be empathetic towards people. They have to be agile in the decisions that they are taking in terms of people management, functions, policies, procedures, etc. But at the same time, be visionary. Not just look at stopgap, quick decisions, but look at any decision that they're taking in an agile manner, how it's going to impact the future. They have to be tech savvy yet people centric. Not being tech savvy is no more an option for CHROs, right? CHROs and HR folks have to be tech savvy, because every person who's walking through the doors of the organizations that they lead are going to get more and more tech savvy with every single passing day. So that means that CHROs also have to be tech savvy, not just from an HR tech perspective, but also to ensure that they have a seat at the table in the decisions that is being made by organizations about the technology they're going to implement within the organization, because it's going to directly impact the people. And CHROs are responsible for ensuring that people are not impacted much. And last but not the least, AI will provide the tools, but leaders will have to create the culture. So these are the 4 pillars which we personally believe where CHROs need to focus. And this calls for a whole lot of activities. With this, I turn this back to Emily, and then you'll hear the rest of my panelists speaking on these angles. Thanks a lot, Emily. Did I finish in 10 minutes?
You were awesome. I am impressed, David. Well done. Thank you so much. The 3 Ds of leadership, and you've also shared with us the key capabilities of a CHRO of the future. I will be asking some questions at the end just to see who really got it. We have a poll towards the end of the session before the Q&A, so stay tuned in. Please be typing your questions on the chat, and we will address them at the end. I now have the honor of inviting Stewart Samkange. It's time to shine, and what will he be sharing with us? Embracing AI while preserving human essence of leadership, quite aligned with what David spoke to. So welcome, Stewart.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Emily. Aligned to what David was talking about. And probably the question that people have in the back of their minds is that if AI can do all of these things, what's going to be left for human beings? Yeah. What's going to be left for us to do instead? And the answer is actually quite simple, is that when we go to work, whether we're leaders or employees, we bring our uniquely human skills into the workplace. And some of those skills are going to become increasingly important as AI comes into our workplace. And I think we put up a slide on the screen here talking about some of the skills that we all need to build as leaders in order to be on a successful transformation journey. And these skills are skills like effective communication, that's a human skill, critical thinking, another human skill, empathy, a vital, critical human skill that will determine whether we're successful as individuals or as an organization. So human skills, and John is going to touch around this, will increasingly become important. But I wanted to take a lens of what skills should we be developing from a leadership perspective and how we should lead this skills transformation within our own organization as we look to embrace AI. Now, going on what David has said, AI is going to increasingly free up time. It's going to free up time for you as HR leaders to spend more time being more collaborative and more innovative in the work that you do. And of course, to do that, you do this by using those same human skills that I spoke about earlier on. AI is going to enhance your leadership skills, but it will not replace your leadership skills. I hope you heard me. AI will enhance your human skills, your leadership skills, but will not replace them. And it's important to walk away from this session with this concept and understanding, because your own employees that you lead are going to come to you and say, well, is AI going to replace my job? As we automate as a business, what's going to happen to my department? What's going to happen to my career? So it's important for us to understand that whilst AI enhances and supports us, the human mind on its own. You know, so many times people talk about this whole concept of that tech people are building these machines that will think and replace the way people work or the way people think. But when you actually go and talk to neuroscientists, they will tell you that if human beings were able to use AI to think like human beings, it would be an amazing trick. A neat trick. And I use the word trick deliberately because it is a trick. Because right now, as humans, we still don't even understand how people work or how the human mind thinks. So, what we do understand is how people work. And we do understand that they need skills, and that the skills that matter are the soft skills. And that for us as leaders, those soft skills are essential in decision making, in communicating, in our social intelligence of how we orchestrate and get our companies working. More importantly, as leaders, as we position this transformation journey to our employees and the people that we manage, we need to position it as an opportunity to grow, because people will only embrace growth or only embrace change if there's growth embedded in it. So you embed, so in order for us to transform and overcome this paradigm shift that we're going through of will AI replace jobs? Will AI change the way that we work and interact? Then maybe what we should be looking at is how we can use that technology to enhance the way we work. And then position, not only the way we work, position this as growth for people. A key fact that you could also socialize with your own employees is that if they go on this transformational journey with you of growing these critical skills, research shows that they're 8% more likely to be promoted. Well, they're 8% more likely to be promoted faster than other people who have tech skills, as opposed to those who have developed these essential soft skills. Now, I don't want to belabor the point and go on about the soft skills. I want to now actually talk about how you start bringing these skills into reality, into your workplace. Let's move on to the next slide. What you'll see in the next slide is that we've now started developing learning paths, because yes, as we think about transformation, as we think as leaders, how am I going to keep my human skills and as well as help my organization go down this transformational journey, it requires that you have some structure. So what you're seeing up on screen would be the sort of courses or the sort of topics that we would cover around leadership and helping leaders embrace the world of AI. So you will see there on screen, AI for managers, AI for organizational leaders, AI for productivity, because all of this is really aligned to how you enhance the way people work. On the next slide, I've taken a more generic approach where I say, I'm not looking at leaders, but what are some of the fundamentals and essential learnings that one would need in order to enhance their human skills in a world of AI? These skills that I've highlighted in the second page could be for our IT team, or could be for our managers, or could be for our employees holistically. You'll see there I've used things like Microsoft Copilot, etc., to highlight how we can enhance productivity in our day-to-day work. But let me start wrapping up and sharing some final thoughts around how we're going to keep our human skills in a world of AI. First of all, the future is human. As AI continues to become more pervasive, as people continue to ask, how is it that we're going to evolve? Well, I say we're going to continue to evolve and do our best work and be our best selves if we continue to grow and have a mindset where we're continuously enhancing our own skills and growing our human skills. Those skills, in summary, would be us developing our skills around communication, how we critically think, how we leverage emotional intelligence, that human aspect, and in our decision making. In fact, if I was to be asked, what skill would you focus on as a leader, overarching all the other 6 skills I highlighted earlier on, the number one skill I'll probably say you should focus on is adaptability. That agility, that ability for you to pivot where required. Building a learning organization and an organization that's with you on this transformational journey is going to be critical for you to succeed and for you to keep the human aspects into this journey that is really technology driven. I probably wanted to end off with 2 quotes from someone I look up to. So Jeff Bezos, the chairman, CEO of Amazon, as you well know, the one quote that he has is that he says, "Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room." So my question for you as an HR leader, how are you enhancing and learning skills around AI and the human skills to support it that will make you a more effective leader? And who knows about this? Do your people know about it? Are you talking about AI, the transformational journey you're on? That's on one side. The second one is I was looking at what questions people typically ask Jeff Bezos, and everyone's always asking him around, Jeff, what's going to change in the next 10 years? But I love the answer that he gives back. The answer that he gives back is that a more important question is what's not going to change in the next 10 years? Our human skills, our empathetic skills, our emotional intelligence, our decision making, our critical thinking are some of the things that are not going to change. I hope you can join me as I open up the last slide. I hope you can join me on this journey of transformation and skills enhancement for your people. Scan the QR code, book time with me so we can expand further on this topic. I thank you for the 10 minutes, and I think I made it just in time.
Oh my, so much brilliance in the room. Amazing. Well done, Stuart. And I think there is hope, right? Everyone has been talking about will AI replace our jobs? And I think the key message I'm taking away is AI will enhance our human skills, but will not replace them. And the future is human. Beautiful. So much brilliance. Thank you. Now, I don't know if you're as excited as I am. I am learning so much. Hope you're taking notes. And the next speaker is Michael Boham, the founder of SkillSize. This is a gentleman I think you all need to hang out around with. He is doing amazing stuff in the space of AI, introduced to me by John. So the power of connection and networks. Michael will be speaking to us on realigning strategic priorities when AI becomes co-pilot in decision making and what needs to shift in HR's role to keep with this transformation. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Emily. Can I just confirm that you can see my slides?
Yes.
Awesome, brilliant. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. As I introduced myself before, I'm the founder of SkillSize, and today I'm going to talk about the strategic priorities for the CHRO in this universe, this future world of the combining of human potential, which is everything I'm passionate about, but also innovation and what that looks like as a married convergence. So I'm going to start this. My background is a consultant, right? So I always try to figure out the why in every scenario. So rather than going straight to the answer, I'm going to take you through a bit of a journey of the path from company A to the future version of the company, where it's a hybrid workforce where human capital and intellectual capital and technology fuse together to increase productivity. So let's start with picture the operating model. Very simple, basic operating model for a bank, right? So you've got your front office functions, marketing, sales, products, and you've got your middle office and back office functions. Now, from my experience of delivering digital transformation in a number of different organizations, companies tend to start with the quick win sections, which typically around augmentation. What areas of our front office can we benefit from adding rather than subtracting? It's easier to add than to subtract. So what we try to do is to find areas where we can do a bit more, reach some more clients, personalize the client experience, the customer experience, so we can increase sales, increase touch points, and increase overall productivity. The next step, once we realize, hey, this AI thing actually works, is what roles, what functions within our business are unfortunately redundant. And that's when automation comes into place. So start looking at transactions, making them more efficient, IT infrastructure and risk management, and most of the business operations tend to suffer or benefit from automation to make an overall lean and hybrid organization. And let's assume this is a target organization, right? You've got your hybrid of augmentation and automation applied all through the operating model. So this is all well and good. This is where we're trying to get to. But what happens in that transition process? There are significant disruptive impacts, right? Do people have enough skills to adopt this new technology? There's also the glaring job displacements. People will lose their jobs as a result of automation. There's a resistance to change. All of this leads to operational disruptions, compliance risk with managing sensitive data, the like. So where we want to get to is a hybrid model, a futuristic model of a lean organization with significantly high productivity, but it's the risk of getting there, the disruptive journey, disruptive pathway of getting there. Now let's zoom in a little bit and let's try and understand the employee experience. So this is an employee, financial analyst within a bank, and let's just assume they are overwhelmed looking at several different Excel spreadsheets, pitch decks. We've all got that experience, right? And the idea is to try and get them to this stage where they're enhanced. The enhanced employee has a co-pilot, which we've all experienced, allows them to do a little bit more within the less time possible. So this financial analyst has gone from constantly spending a lot of time plowing through data analysis on spreadsheets and various different other platforms, and their role starts to slowly transition towards data interpretation, strategic insights. But there's a problem here. Let's bring back that disruptive impact aspect. Is this analyst ready to fully actualize and adopt AI that allows them to maximize the value of it? Also, once AI starts to consume about 80 to 70% of their job, are they really useful within that organization? So there's that constant fear that we all feel around technology disruption. We saw it from the organizational standpoint, but this is us honing in slightly into the individual, the employee. Limited career mobility, workforce disengagement as a result of this constant fear and pressure. And some cases, because of the lack of quality induced in the work, eventually leading to customer dissatisfaction. So to bring this all together, surely the priorities we should have would be around minimizing this disruptive impact for this idea of hybridization. We're calling that hybridization is forming that hybrid workforce. So if our focus is on minimizing disruptive impact, what should be our strategic priorities? So Employee 2.0, as my colleague Stuart and David also mentioned, the key skills and attributes to consider to get to actualize this Employee 2.0 version would be around, we all saw this report from the World Economic Forum looking at the various different skills that we should consider for that future acceptance and utilization of AI and technology. I struggle with the idea of the concept of future skills. I don't think such a thing actually exists. I think future attributes makes a lot more sense because before generative AI, before ChatGPT, the hot thing was blockchain. The hot thing was, say, quantum computing. But now generative AI has displaced that or prioritized that or become more of a prominent factor. We're now thinking about generative AI scripting and sort of those sort of technologies. So I think the fundamental thing we should consider is adaptability, because we don't know what's coming around the corner next year and 3 years from now. So if you have those attributes that allow you to apply your thinking in a creative manner and critical manner, you're in a better position to be able to adapt to what's coming down the pipeline. So that's the focus point for Employee 2.0. But what does that mean for the organization? You can track these skills or attributes, you can nurture them, but for the organization, what is that one thing that you can measure, track, that allows you to seamlessly transition to version 2 of this entity? And that's what we within SkillSize call the agility quotient. Allow me to dive a little bit into that. So the agility quotient is a single metric or mechanism that measures how well an entity, a team, an organization, or workforce is able to adapt seamlessly to the transition towards that comes as a result of digital transformation. What we do is measure the growth capability you have within the organization. So the people that bend the curve, creative thinkers, solutionizers, commercial thinking, analytical and critical thinking, adaptability, which can be nurtured and attracted, vitality, people coming through the pipeline that have experience of working with various different technologies, also mobility potential. If we think back to that operating model, if AI starts to automate and augment a specific section, do people have the capability, versatility to move across different other parts of the business? And that's what mobility potential references, and AI immunity, essentially the tail off of the first few points, where as you start to adapt and learn, your AI immunity starts to shrink because you're comfortable and you have the skills to operate AI at a high level point. So strategies, to answer the exam question, strategies, priorities for achieving the successful hybridization and also to increase your agility quotient score as a CHRO. I'm a consultant, so you've obviously seen these sort of frameworks you've seen before. If anyone has experience or delivered any strategic workforce planning initiative, you would know these four words all too clearly: build, buy, borrow, bot. What we recommend is a sort of a parallel mutual strategy where you're observing the short term, bring in those experts, increase knowledge sharing, and identify those quick wins across your business to start to slowly benefit and expose yourself to the value of AI and start to automate those quick win, low hanging fruit, as we call it in the consulting world, low hanging fruit use cases to benefit from the value of AI across your front office functions and middle office alike. Then in parallel, slowly start to build those capabilities internally. Reskilling initiatives, Stuart went through this as well, learning parameters, learning programs that allow you to learn in the flow of your work. We believe firmly from organizations we speak to and what we've seen, homogeneous learning is not the way forward. Every individual should have a learning mechanism that's contextual to their work and contextual to their manner of learning. So instill those principles and those initiatives in place to allow individuals to feel comfortable with the adoption of AI. And by, you've identified your skills gaps in the organization, go out to the market to find the relevant people to can help plug in those deficiencies so you a fully operating workforce environment, a workforce team that can thrive in the age of AI. Something a little bit crazy. So what is the future of AI? What does AI look like in this future world of the hybridization where AI and the workforce and AI and innovation collaborates in this unison manner? This is our prediction, or a bit of our thought process. So Stuart mentioned someone he looks up to. I look up to Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, and he recently came out with a quote, I think it was about last year in a conference, and he said, the IT department of every company is going to be the HR department of AI agents in the future. I firmly believe this is the case. Allow me to hypothesize. I see a future where HR and IT fuse together to create a whole new function called WR, workforce resources. So the HR function is no longer a reactive functional strip that sits in the middle office and back for office. It's a central nucleus that interacts and communicates with all other functions across the business. Imagine being able to pull productivity and monitoring and impact measurements from other different functions and very quickly, radically deploy solutions, co-pilots, and personalized talent management to all resources across the business. I really see people analytics, which is the space I operate in, and the trends and where it's going right now to be the fundamental language that powers HR in the future. But what are the critical skills relevant for a CHRO or anyone in this leadership capacity in this new workforce's capability? Again, to tail off of Stuart's point, communication. We tend to see it as a sort of cross-functional fluency to be able to encourage the adaptation and the collaboration between various different functions in this new world. Data literacy and data insights interpretation. If this is a data fueled world that we're going in towards, you should be able to interpret the results of the impact measurement from these various different functions and easily translate that into what works for the rest of the organization while being constantly interacting with market intelligence and dynamic shifts in organization strategy. And lastly, emotional intelligence for obvious reasons. So what are the benefits of this very wacky world of workforce resources being the new function? Fully scalable organization, enhanced productivity, significantly and dynamically related to your strategy, and a world where businesses, employees within those different sub-functions feel encouraged and empowered to perform at their maximum productivity using AI. And I'll pause and stop there. I'll have a glass of water.
Wow, wonderful. Michael, you're done, right?
I'm all
Just
done.
check
Yeah.
that you're all
I
done.
really need that glass of water. My throat is getting
All
dry.
right. You did
But
amazing.
I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, good stuff. So all HR people in the room, I mean, this is the guy to speak to when you think about workforce planning. And I mean, he just speaks to us when you're thinking about how do you really know if you have the right skills in the organization and what do they need at this particular moment? How do you link that to the business priorities? So you see, we went from here, we went granular to how do we bring it home? And I think this is just amazing. How do you increase your agility quotient? If you're just joining, make sure you listen to the recording and know what that is and what skill size can help you achieve that. All right. Last but not least, John, are you feeling the pressure? Amazing presentations, lots to learn. And so John, our very own from Rise and Learn Global, will be speaking about skills leaders and HR needs to thrive in the in the AI-driven world. Welcome, John.
Thank you so much, Emily. As the slides are being put up by Harris, I just wanted to add and mentioned earlier on that my interest grew particularly in AI when I was working in a particular tech capability in a major global organization, whereby AI became a key piece in that technical capability. And what I'm going to share with you is some of my own experience, what that means for us in terms of upskilling ourselves as HR people, what we need to know, what we need to know, how we need to upskill ourselves so that we are the right change agents to drive this particular change. In the next slide, this is just a rough outline. In the next slide, you'll see the outline of what I'll speak to. I'll talk about the extent of the AI knowledge and skills gap, hence the need to the skills. Already, my colleague has talked about what every leader needs to know about AI. I'll just touch on it. I'll measure most of my discussion in talking about the opportunities for AI upskilling in the HR space. What do I need to upskill myself? And then tips on how you can build your own AI learning strategy in your organization. Finally, what that means for us in terms of a call to action. So looking at the skills gap, this data I got from Deloitte, it shows this, that globally, 75% of the global organization are accelerating their use of AI, and they plan to accelerate the use of AI over the next 5 years or so. But however, the upskilling does not match that aspiration or ambition. Only 13% of the workers have been offered AI skills training. So that's a huge opportunity for us to reskill ourselves as HR people and also upskill ourselves in AI. So we're going to talk about that in detail in the next slide. So I don't think I need to talk too much about what every leader needs to know about AI, because I think Stuart talked about it. In the next slide, you'll see a summary of this. She talked about this in detail. But I think this information is helpful for you when you're building a case as a leader for AI. We've seen it, there's data that shows how it increases productivity. Accenture predict to reduce costs by 38% by 2025 for organizations which embrace AI, improve client experience, potential to improve employee experience in that inside-out approach, operational efficiency, new data. The sky is the limit in terms of what AI can do for us and our business. So in short, I don't see organizations which don't embrace AI being able to survive in the next current few years. And besides, it will also be how effectively they deploy AI with their people will be the key basis for building their competitive advantage. In the next slide, we're just going to look at, what it means for us as HR people. What does it mean for us as HR people? Sometimes we take it for granted that when you're speaking AI here, we all understand AI and what it means and the different AI capabilities that it can potentially bring to an organization. So I would recommend this. I would really recommend this, that each one of us here on the call start educating ourselves by immersing ourselves and upskilling ourselves in AI. I found myself in that particular journey. And I found myself, my curiosity driving me to start doing AI certifications, some related to particular capabilities, but some related to the HR space and business generally. I would recommend this, that as you prepare to play your role as a change agent in this disruptive transformation journey that Michael has just talked about, immerse yourself in understanding the AI foundational concepts. Immerse yourself next in understanding how the role AI can play in the HR value chain, right from recruitment, right from onboarding, learning and development. There's a huge opportunity. Mike talks about that, how AI can help analyze your skill gaps, help build bespoke learning journeys for your people. Right now, we are doing that using human judgment. And there's up to 50% chance of making an error when we are nominating people for learning journeys or for succession or critical roles in our succession pipelines. AI can augment that, not replace our judgment, but augment that by helping us to have data-driven decision. Can you imagine yourself in understanding the ethical considerations around AI? And it's really important because AI has to be deployed ethically. So for instance, it's one thing to use some AI tool in your recruitment as a recruitment tool that helps you to, shortlist candidates and, right from the onset, from that particular platform, shortlist your candidates before you go to next phase of interviewing them. But an ethical consideration would be, an example I would give is that we need to be transparent and make full disclosure to the candidates. If we are using AI, it's ethical and just right to tell people we are using an AI tool shortlisting. Then what do we do with the data that they give us? It's just ethical that we respect data privacy. Just examples of ethical considerations. My colleagues talked about data literacy, and Michael called it people analytics. It's a must. AI, data is what feeds AI. Garbage in, garbage out. So the accuracy of our data, the reliability of our data is key. And I think we can't help but help ourselves to have a good appreciation of data and analytical skills, because it's this data that we'll use to feed to AI if we are going to deploy AI anywhere in our HR value chain. It's also good to familiarize ourselves with the tools and technologies available for HR. There are so many. Some speak to recruitment, some speak to learning and development, some speak to employee experience. So many tools, but you can't choose a tool in your strategy, in your AI strategy, unless you're familiar with the features and benefits and what it can do for your employees, by extension for your clients. A key piece is around change management for AI implementation. And I think Michael touched on it in talking about the integration of HR and AI. The role of HR is going to change. And the role of HR as a change catalyst, as by David Wood's model, will be more enhanced. So we'll move from the routine conventional HR tasks. We are going to lead this change, and we are going to influence this change, and it will be inevitable. So we'll be at the heart of it. We'll be at the heart of it. And this transformation will be about, of course, we know changes, for instance, in job descriptions. Certain skills will become less important, technical skills, because they'll be taken over by AI. And my colleagues talked about human skills, which will be more enhanced and more important for different roles. So us will be the center of it. We'll be crafting new job descriptions for the evolved roles in AI. We'll be crafting job descriptions for the new roles, the emerging roles. So Michael talked about, World Economic Forum, the new roles, the new skills that are coming up, also the emerging roles. And we need also to be so very, very, very conversant to this journey and be able to support. And finally, it's key just to immerse ourselves in terms of what skills do we know to build our own AI strategy, implement it and evaluate it. As I finish in the next slide, I'll just touch on the next slide some of the basics. People take for granted we know AI. With some of us think of it as a automation of tasks and taking over of routine tasks. But there's other elements of AI we need to understand. Predictive AI, where data can predict, behavior of our clients, and we're able to use that data to recommend certain solutions for our clients according to their needs. Generative AI, then autonomous agents, and Elon Musk the other day launched robots which are fully 100% replication of what a human can do autonomously. Next slide, please. So it's good. I'm just flagging this as something to help us understand. So you can immerse yourself and start learning this. And the call for action for us people in the call is, these are examples of platforms you can just start learning and immersing yourself. And the bottom bullet is about certain global organizations that have made digital learning on AI open. For example, Salesforce, they have made their certifications on AI free of charge until 31st December 2025. There also others, IBM and so on. So let's take advantage in this democratized space of learning and learn as much. Next slide, please. In the next slide, we shall see generally, final, it's my tips for building an AI strategy for companies. Where I start from in building an AI strategy or a learning strategy for a company. So L&D experts in the room, this is your space. I'll summarize it in these 7 steps. The starting point of deploying AI, of course, there must be leadership AI. Leadership must provide executive sponsorship. It must already be part of your business strategy. Those conversations have happened, and they've explored what aspects of business and business solutions AI can be leveraged on. Then it's only when then that we make now AI as part of a strategy development, and then now talk about persona-based, building learning pathways, deploy the 70-20-10 in that, and then deliver that through democratized learning. Finally, how do we measure that in that? So having said that, I think I'll hand over to you, Emily, and I think we can have more conversations around this. Thank you so much. Over to you, Emily.
Thank you. I just love the content. I love the flow from David, who started by sharing with us the 3 Ds of leadership: dynamic, data-driven, and deeply human. Segue into Stewart's conversation and how can we really humanize this whole approach of AI, and that it's actually not going to replace what we do, but it's just going to enhance the work that we do. And Michael went into, how can you use these tools, strategic workforce planning for those of you in human resources. How do you make it practical? And John, looking at how do you actually bring it home as an individual? What skills do you need to learn? And, John is passionate about learning and development. You've been able to see, how he's been able to integrate some of the work he does with AI. John, we are fortunate to have you on board. Thank you for sharing. And guys, don't feel under pressure. This content will be shared with you, and our speakers will also be, engaging with you even beyond this forum. We now want to move on to a poll. I don't know, are we doing a poll, Harris? A poll, and then we will be doing the Q&A. I just want to read the first question because the poll is coming up. So please proceed to answer your questions on the poll as we prepare. And Stewart, just to prepare you, you will be answering our first question once the poll is done. Please respond to this. Would you like to see a demo of Adrenaline's AI-powered HR tech? You can respond. Is it only one question, Harris, or are there more?
Just 1 minute.
Oh, it's only one. All right, that's good. Awesome. Cool. So you let us know. Do you want to show the poll, or shall I go straight to the questions?
Please go ahead with the questions.
All right. Cool. So, Stewart, how shall AI bring effective decision-making and resource allocation in HR operations in Africa or the world shall we put it to fear? How shall we be helped in the adaptability of these changes?
Good one. I think every leader, probably the most confounding thought in the back of our minds whenever this transformation or new challenge is coming in is that I wish I had someone I could bounce this idea off. So when it comes to decision making, think of AI as a co-pilot, for lack of a better word, as Microsoft calls it. Think of it as someone who you can bounce some decisions over. But again, I also want to remind all of us that whilst AI, and there are several engines helping us with AI and generative AI answers, is that it does tend to hallucinate. So we still need the human element. After we've prompted, after it's given us some suggestions, we're still going to need the human element to make the final decision on the way that you choose to go. So my message is just remember, AI hallucinates. It's based on training that it's had, and that the decision should really be made by you as a human being at the end after analyzing what AI gives you.
All right. Wow. Amazing. So, how are you managing bias in your models? How is Skills AI addressing bias, especially for customers in Africa? What measures are in place, to manage bias in LinkedIn Learning? How is bias being handled in the Adrenaline Max HCM suite solutions? I'd like these two questions answered by, we can start with Michael and then David. Very crisp, please. And thank you, Mukunya Mugo. I believe that's the one who asked the question.
Yeah, from a skills size AI, it's the name. From that perspective, it's a challenge. I'm going to be very honest, it's a challenge, and we've been working on it quite aggressively for the last 4 to 5 years, trying to understand and ways that we can minimize any subjectivity, minimize bias in our model and how we created it. So we work with a technology solution called Warden AI. Very good platform, by the way. They are an AI governance platform for AI model generation in a similar way that our platform uses AI. And what we try to do there is to ensure that the AI output is repeatable. Because typically what happens is if you run a query with GPT 3 to 5 times, you get different results every time. So it's important for it to be repeatable. But also what we've developed in combination without using Warden AI is the ability to look and extrapolate information from unstructured data sources without the consideration for one, any kind of demographic representation, and also two, the elements of, if you think about a CV, the elements of the CV that people tend to wrap around with fluff. I increased my sales by 500%, but you were a team in a group of 100 people, right? So we ignore elements like that and focus on the areas where accuracy tends to thrive, i.e. I was a business analyst at this company for this time frame, I was a DIT at that company for that time frame. So we exclude all the fallaciousness and we focus on the accuracy, but we also work with a number of different partners to summarize that ensures that our AI building process is as lean and as bias-free as possible.
Thank you. David.
Perfect. So, I mean, the definition of bias is again becoming subjective, right? If you actually take a look at it, there's no, with the continuous evolvement that is happening in the technology side. But while that is evolving, where we come into play is actually looking at reducing bias within the workplace. That's another aspect of it, right? So since, Michael spoke about how technology and how partnerships and how various aspects of technology is kind of, being applied to remove bias from the technology per se. But, for me, I want to address on how we use the HCM to kind of, remove bias within an organization, right? The bias is there, and I'm sure that is important for CHROs to know. So we've built an AI platform which kind of, captures all these, data points of biasness right from the time of recruitment, right from the time of, skill set, job description, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, for any bias to be removed, it needs to be flagged off based on data, right? So we capture thousands and thousands of data points from within the HR system, which we believe are, points of, biasness. And that comes in as an alert at the time of the decision making or when the transaction is being done. And that's a data library that is kind of, captured right from the time of hire to the retire at various checkpoints. And that data library is continuing to increase. That's how we are kind of removing bias in people management per se. Now, the conversation about, how technology bias can be removed from technology completely. I'm sure if Michael and I and some of my tech folks start speaking, we can have 3 episodes of the webinar to continue to speak about how bias can be removed from there. So I'm just going to leave it at that and say at Adrenaline, we've kind of working very closely with CHROs and tech people to build a tech platform which is AI enabled. And by the way, our parent company implement actually banking solutions, core banking solutions to some of the large banks there in Kenya. We recently went live with INM Bank in Kenya for the HR tech as well. So considering, that's the strong tech background that we have, and the platform that we have is built to take care of biasness and security components there. So I leave it at that.
All right. Thank you. I see some other few questions, but I think this I can address. Dear team, don't you think AI takeoff speed is too high for the purpose of adaptability of HR operations? And then somebody else says, I'm feeling anxious with all these technological changes. How do we manage this? Breathe in, breathe out. It's okay. Stuart just said that the future is human. So technology will not replace it. And I think there's what we need to do. We need to play our role in terms of upskilling ourselves and just don't be scared of it, embrace it. And let AI help you to enhance those skills. Having said that, we will still be having more conversations, and these questions will actually be shared so that we kind of have a Q&A that we can send over to you. I'd like us to hear from John, just his parting shot as he also responds to this question, just if you want to enhance what you shared earlier. How can learning and AI work together? John, as you summarize your parting shot.
If the question is how we can leverage AI in learning, I think there is a huge opportunity, especially in doing our skill gap analysis and being able at the predictive, using the generative predictive AI to predict the stability of people for future business critical roles, being able to assess their skills, and that it augments human judgment for that purpose. I think that's the biggest win for AI in learning and development, the learning and development process. Thanks.
Thank you so much. That was crisp. Thank you. I want to give you just a parting shot, like 30 seconds. We'll do Michael, we will do Stewart, we will do John, and then David will close for us. He has been our host in collaboration with Rise and Learn. So let's hear from you, Michael. Parting shots.
Parting short, I'd say people tend to fear things that they don't understand. And I completely understand that technology in AI in itself is a black box, is one big black box. So I'd say try not to fight the change, try and embrace it, leverage AI in the most microscopic way possible, use Copilot, use GPT, see what it can do for you. And if I were to advise anyone who's going through the job process right now, try and upskill on where AI is trying to go towards, not necessarily where AI is right now. A very opportunistic area, and I'll summarize by this. I know I'm not speaking to job seekers, but you're always in a situation where people are looking for jobs. GTM engineering, front office, sales, marketing. Think about how AI can scale and optimize that for any company, and you land a job very quickly. And I'll summarize by saying focus from an organization on your agility quotient, having adaptable people, creative, and well communicative with that cross-functional fluency. Thank you very much.
Nice. Agility quotient. Thank you. Who's next? John.
My part short-termly would be, especially for my colleagues, HR practitioners and L&D specialists, is let's immerse ourselves to understand this AI, the implications it has in the entire HR value chain, in organization, potentially the potential it has for our business, creating better client experience and employee experience. Let's upskill, reskill, retool ourselves. And as we do so, let's have that balance and think about the balance between what Michael has talked about, build and buy strategy. It's helpful to get a partner to work this journey and have bespoke solutions built by your own people. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you. It's time to shine.
You stole my thunder. It's time to shine. That is going to be my parting thought. And what do I mean by that? And why is that a hashtag that I use all the time? Because I can gravitate towards it. Number one, it's time to shine as individuals. Start building up your human skills, start understanding the world of AI, and start understanding the impact it's going to have for your organization and your career. Number two, it's time to shine as a department. as HR, and as one of the quotes you heard about, if the future looks like we're going to replace HR with an IT department that automates everything, if that is what the future is looking like, then how are we transforming as a department to ensure that we're relevant and that we're aligned to the strategic imperatives of the company and that we're delivering around that? And then the third one, it's time to shine as Africans. The challenges that we have, the opportunities that we have, no one understands our people better than you, the HR professionals. So it's time for us as Africa to take into context what AI can do for us and then really choose where we want to start or where we want to leapfrog in terms of using it to enhance decision making, enhance making more money, saving money, and all the other wonderful things that we aspire for. So it's time to shine, but it starts with you. What are you learning today? What are you teaching today? And how are you transforming your organization?
Wonderful. Thank you, Stuart. And over to you, David.
No, brilliant. I love, I keep saying this, right? It's always a tough ask coming after Stewart, right? Because he shines so much that sometimes he puts us in the shadow, right? But for me, if I need to take cue from what Stewart spoke, I say AI brings the speed, humans bring the spark, right? I mean, if I need to summarize everything at the end of the day, you talk about automation, you talk about speed, you talk about agility, that is brought in by AI. So AI brings the speed, but the spark has to come from humans. And why? This needs to work together in tandem to make work and life a bit less chaotic and a bit less non-circus type. We are already living in a life and work world which is full of, circus, things going up and down. But the combination of both these is what I believe is the way to go forward, right? And that is when this combination works in this manner, all the things goes out of the window, right? I mean, you're not going to have ethical concerns. You're not going to have concerns about, AI replacing us and so on and so forth. And that is where I say, especially for HR folks, when you work like this, that's when you put the edge back in HR, right? And I always say it is not just about human, right? It's about heart. It's about honesty. And most importantly, I always keep saying this, my parting note, right? HRs have the best sense of humor, especially when they negotiate salaries.
Wow, what a beautiful way.
Right. So I think that is where things come in together.
Nice.
So always keep
Thank
this in mind. AI is supposed to bring in the speed, and we as humans are supposed to bring in the spark. And together, if I'm going to kind of, steal Stewart's statement there, that brings the time to shine together.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. The spark and the speed. It's time to shine. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I want to take this opportunity to thank behind the scenes, the people who really made this happen. Rise and Learn Global and Adrenaline team. Thank you, Catherine. She was working behind the scenes. She's our Relay AI together with Harris and Shri. We won't give them the pressure to put on their cameras, but thank you. We appreciate you. Please take time to connect with us. You have the QR codes there to learn more. We will be in touch through Adrenaline just to answer any other questions that you may have. I'd like to wish you all a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for staying on to the very last minute. And to our speakers, Michael, David, John, Stewart, you were brilliant. I have personally learned a lot and we appreciate you. We are going to do this more often. Thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, one last note. When you have 4 men here, we need a woman like Emily to drive us and keep us under control. So thanks, Emily, for doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you for the humor, David. Bye-bye. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.